And we are on. Hello, hello. Welcome to a new episode from the Mindset Lounge podcast. You are here with Raluca Pricop and
I am Sally Mady. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We're always very grateful for our watchers on YouTube and listeners on Spotify. Thank you. The support is really great and giving us a boost. Today, we are here with another topic. But before I release the topic, shall I start by just a story?
yes, of course.
Okay. I want to tell you about Rachel.
Mm,
Rachel is a lovely, sweet, kind girl. She recently finished her A levels just in the last year, and she did A plus in art. She wanted to study art
mm,
at uni. However, her parents, the doctors, were pushing her to go to med school to study medicine, become a doctor like them, because it runs in the family. Very common topic. She found herself in a dilemma what to do, but had to go with her parents' decision and desire. And she is now in her first year at med school, unfortunately miserable, not enjoying her uni life, especially the first year at uni is meant to be fun, and you probably know it, experienced it.
yeah,
It's not the case with Rachel, unfortunately.
I think it's a story that many people relate to.
And this is just one of Rachel's, I'd call it problem or situation where she found herself people pleasing. Today we want to talk about being a people pleaser. Um, just like Rachel, she's put her needs, desire, life, dreams aside to satisfy someone else's desire and prioritize their needs and their wishes. What do you think could be a simple, maybe, definition, Raluca?
Well, a people pleaser is someone who has a strong desire usually to make others happy and gain their approval, often at the expenses of their own needs and desires.
Hmm.
It's like prioritizing the feelings and um, wants of other people over their own well-being. Sometimes it leads to neglecting own boundaries and sacrificing own happiness.
And also, it affects the mindset and the mental health massively.
Yeah, it does because this behavior is rooted in many factors, and some of them are the fear of rejection or conflict, low self-esteem, desire for validation and acceptance from others, and it leads to problematic issues like chronic stress, resentment, inability to stand out for your own needs and
Also, the fear of failure. Like Rachel, she feared going, following her dreams and her passion. If she fails, and then all the what ifs start hitting. What if I fail? What will their reaction be? How will they treat her? What will they say, etc., etc. So it was easier for her to say yes and over saying no, this is what I want, just out of fear and guilt.
guilt. Yeah, yeah. It's like when you put on a happy face just to avoid rocking the boat, and that's
Mm,
a warning sign. If you ignore your own feelings just to keep the peace, and yeah, that's people pleasing in action, and is very often related to trauma from childhood.
absolutely. Especially if you're surrounded by a family who either push you to become a people pleaser and always put everyone's needs first, and this becomes something embedded in you, and you do it automatically while you forget yourself, or if they themselves are people pleaser, and this is the only example you can see around you.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's important for us to mention to our audience the fact that we both experienced this.
Can you tell us a story? If you have a personal story?
Yeah, I do have a personal story. It's not necessarily a nice one, obviously, um, but it has a happy ending, so I'm happy to share it. um,
Go
as
on.
I said, I'm one of those who grew up uh, with a narcissistic, manipulative parent. My father was massively messing up in relationship with my mom, in his relationship with my mom, and every time she appeared to have had enough, he would have used me to convince her not to divorce him. Once he was safe and everything was settled for him, I would have become invisible until he needed me again. So, as a result of this and a complete validation, lack of validation that I didn't get obviously from my parents, I become a hyper vigilant, restless, perfectionist, hyperachiever, always the best at everything that I set my mind to, thinking that by proving myself, I will get the attention and acceptance and love and validation that I needed. So, in time, I've developed a strong feeling that I don't deserve love, respect, appreciation, and I have to earn it. I didn't. And this threw me harder into the deep, as it messed up massively my value system. And I found myself often trying to please and fit in the wrong environment and saying no and cutting off people that deserved better. All this ended in a strong feeling of resentment that I mentioned earlier and burnout, which eventually got me physically sick. However, I've learned a lot from it. I've learned what boundaries are. I've learned how to set them in place. And probably one of the most important things is that I've learned to cut off people.
Wow. I'm pleased you shared that actually, Luca, because a lot of the times in our childhood or in someone's childhood, if they feel overlooked or unimportant in a family, they find a way to seek attention
Yeah,
and
yeah,
validation from the people around them and from their family. And becoming a people pleaser is one of them ways
yeah, yeah,
to be, hey, I'm here. I can do it all for you.
yeah,
So to get that feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment, but on the long run, it's just draining and it causes overwhelm. I'm sure as what you've experienced.
yeah, yeah. It's not easy to deal with people pleasing. In my case, in a way, I was lucky because I channeled all my energy towards a constructive thing, like becoming better academically in sports and stuff like that, which went good for me in a way. But I didn't get the attention, and I was trying to please not only my parents, but everyone, to get everyone's
Mhm.
attention, to
Attention.
validate myself, to get appreciation. I didn't feel appreciated, and that was another thing that was digging deep.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I was lucky though because I didn't channel my energy into a more destructive behavior. But I have friends who later in life started drinking, started consuming substances, hanging out with the wrong people, which I've done as well. I just managed to extract myself from those environments due to the hobbies I had. Like I
Hmm.
liked to exercise a lot. I was spending my time studying a lot, and it was a gap in between the environment I was hanging on with and what I was actually doing. But not everyone is lucky enough to develop a behavior that is also helpful on one side. Because for me, yeah, I achieved a lot academically, but inside I was completely broken.
I can totally relate. It's similar to me, having achieved quite few degrees, but never felt that satisfaction and fulfillment. And that led to find it very, very hard to say no.
Yeah.
I'm still on the healing journey from 100% total people pleaser. Um, but I remember very well that I would feel very guilty saying no afterwards, um, or not offering even to help. Sometimes people don't expect you to offer to be there for them or help or do it all for them. But when you're a people pleaser, you automatically do it.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
offer you have a desire and you want to help others and this to fulfill your need of doing that.
Yeah.
And I found that very, very hard to say no until it got me really drained and stressed because I would give up some of my schedules, some of my events to be there for others. And the thing that I think made me realize that I need to stop doing that is when I start giving up time with my children. That was the time when I felt that's getting too much because it's causing a lot of distress at home for me, and draining my energy. And through the help with a friend who I trust very much, I open up and trusting that person, we just started chatting and finding ways of doing what I like is helping people, but in a way that suits me and my family and setting boundaries, as you said.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
think.
perhaps let's explore how we could switch the people pleasing. I'm not saying not be kind, don't offer to help, or that's completely different. Just want to highlight that.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say that one of the signs of people pleasing is this difficulty of saying no, and it's not necessarily about not helping others.
Mhm.
Is about going against your own needs and desires to help others. And as we mentioned in one of our previous episodes, self-love helps you focus on what you need. And once your need is fulfilled, it's easier and more natural to step into helping others. But it needs to be aligned with your values, with
Mhm.
your wishes, with your desires. And yeah, just before exploring other aspects of people pleasing, let's go a little bit through the common signs apart from saying no. What would be the next one?
I'm not sure.
Overcommitting,
100%. Yeah. Overflow of the cup,
taking
over
on more
taking more.
tasks,
Absolutely.
responsibilities than you can handle, just because you're afraid of disappointing, of being seen like you're not helpful. What do you think is another one?
Oh, not saying no.
Mm,
Fear of failure,
yeah, yeah. Seeking
fear of
approval.
rejection, seeking approval. Yeah. Lack of appreciation. They're all connected to each other in a way. It's a missing feeling that you want to find somewhere else. Whatever that feeling or emotion is that you maybe lacked in your childhood or from the people around you or from the environment, you try to find it through any way.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you said, overcommitment, that's a very common one. But unfortunately, you only realize you're overcommitting once you hit the overflow, but
Mm,
like level.
yeah. The
You
burnout.
don't feel it exactly that. When you feel the stress messes up our body, and we've both experienced that.
Yes.
But if we haven't experienced that and the negative effects it had, we wouldn't have realized any difference. We wouldn't know any difference.
It's true. It's true.
But we're here to tell you, don't wait for that moment. Don't wait to suffer like many did.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to mention another few signs like ignoring your personal preferences. When you tend to forget what you like just to accommodate other people's preferences, which leads to resentment, to dissatisfaction. You mentioned already the guilt. Another one would be the difficulty to expressing emotions,
Mhm.
fearing that you might upset or disappoint when you say. what you feel. Lack of self-care is another one.
And again, that takes me to the cultural expectations. We've
That's
mentioned before about the pressure from society and from social media in particular that imposes on us all, which sets the cultural expectation higher or different to what we have, what we've been brought up to, and that changes our behavior.
I'm laughing because I remembered one thing. You
Tell
mentioned,
us,
yeah,
tell us the story.
it was actually about my wedding. I didn't want a classical wedding. I didn't want a proper wedding dress, a white wedding dress. I was dreaming to get married in a green, dark green dress, like.
Oh wow,
Anyway,
that's
the
random.
pressure was so high. What's that? Since when? We don't do this, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I ended up getting married in a wedding dress, but it wasn't white, at least that I got. Not to have a white dress. But I felt so uncomfortable. It wasn't what I wanted. And I was looking at
How
the
did you
people
feel on the
around.
day?
Yeah, I was looking at the people around me, at my family. Everyone was proud and they were like, oh, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. I didn't feel that I'm pretty or beautiful. I felt like I was a clown dressed somehow for someone else's pleasure, admiration, whatever. It felt so odd, so odd.
Can I ask you, what would have been the case if you were to say, no, this is not what I want?
Yeah. Um, Scandal. Let's put it in one word, scandal. Oh,
Wow,
yeah. What did she do? Like, this is not traditional. This is not, it wasn't. But I didn't, I've never been inside, I've never been a conformist person. I was different. And it's okay to be different.
absolutely. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
If your son were to do the same for graduation, prom, wedding, just to do something out of the norm, what would be your behavior now towards that?
I can tell you. He had the prom last year when he finished the secondary, and he wasn't sure what he wants to wear. Therefore, we went shopping for almost a week. He got himself three costumes, like complete suits with everything, shirts, everything, shoes, different. I think he had around four options in the end. And he chose what he felt good with. And I wasn't upset because I spent a lot of money and he didn't wear the other things that we bought. I was happy because he was happy. And felt so liberating.
I was gonna say we have to remember to not do the same mistakes with
Yeah.
the next generations.
Yeah.
Now that we're aware of them, let your kids choose what they want.
Yeah.
Because if you want them happy, of course, with support and guidance, not complete freedom of choice, but I mean with guidance and with becoming their friends and just chat, communication, explain why not this suit, why the other one. Just explain with love and with honesty and with appreciation
Yeah.
and with praise to start with. Praise them for choosing whatever they want and then say whatever you want.
You made a great point. You made a great point. I would add to what you just said. There is something that I've also done with my son. I've created space for him to make mistakes. I made him feel safe in coming to
Mhm.
talk to me or share. And I've also encouraged him to reflect and find out the lesson in the mistake he made. So every time he came to me to tell me something that didn't go well or he wasn't pleased with, I told him that's okay. Nothing is perfect. I've made mistakes. Everyone does, even if not everyone admits that. But what can you learn from it? Every
Course, and
time.
celebrate failure.
Yeah.
Let's go back to explore how we could possibly break free
Mm.
from people pleasing. Well, we from the stories that we shared and from Rachel's story,
Mm.
I didn't say. Rachel has finally made the decision to give up on the med uni, and she's applied for art
Mm.
because she has suffered a lot of mental distress, eating disorder,
Yeah.
because she felt unfulfilled, and unfortunately only then her parents accepted it.
I think people pleasing affects us in different ways.
Mm.
In different ways. Some of us react like like Rachel with eating disorders. Some stop sleeping. For example, I had problems sleeping almost all my life. I think I had 20 years in which I slept around 3 or 4 hours maybe per night. There are people that are eating more. It affects our body
But
biologically.
absolutely,
The whole
stress messes up
Mm,
your
yeah.
whole body. So if we can avoid it in any way, then do it. Do it. It's simple. Set boundaries. You can still be kind and helpful, but setting boundaries, prioritizing yourself, prioritizing self care. Fill your own cup first. This is what we mentioned the other episode.
Yeah, we did. We did. Yeah, one of the
And
things.
also, another one, sorry to interrupt you, is self worth. Remember that you're worthy or something similar, but don't wait for validation from others. You are worthy.
Yeah, I think everything starts with self-awareness. So to be able to recognize and acknowledge that you engage in people pleasing and reflect on the reasons behind
Hmm.
your need to please others. Practicing self-care, you just mentioned. And I think we discussed in our Valentine's episode. You
Yeah.
might want to listen to that.
And
Um,
self worth as well.
Prioritize,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
your
mentioned
own
that.
well-being. Take time to engage in activities that nourish your mind, your soul, your body. Challenge perfectionism.
I would ask myself, what is it costing me?
Mm, yeah, yeah.
What will happen if I say no? Maybe run a scenario in your head. What will happen if I say no? How 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 have I filled my own needs first in here? So what are the triggers for becoming a people pleaser? And then explore your emotions. If I say yes, if I say no, explore your emotions. Have fun with it, and then it
Mm,
becomes embedded in you. Maybe imagine a different scenario.
I have a scenario, nice one,
Yeah.
because many people want to start implementing a change or doing something differently, and many of them say, oh, it's impossible, it's too hard. Is I've done a post recently about this, in which I was saying, so imagine a toddler starting walking. What a funny image, isn't it? And a great life lesson, because there are two questions here that I want to ask everyone. What if toddlers would judge themselves based on the result of their first attempt? I think I will stick to just one question. What if
Mm.
they would judge themselves based on the result of their first attempt to walk? Would they ever try again? So be a
I'm
toddler.
sure we've seen our kids
Yeah,
doing that, and
mm,
yeah, we can all learn from. Definitely a good metaphor actually,
yeah,
and
yeah.
quite
It's applicable.
innocent one.
Mhm, yeah, and it's applicable to challenging perfectionism as well. Nobody
Of
starts
course.
by being good.
I just want to highlight when we say reflect on a situation, it's not regretting what you've done, or because feeling of regret is also a hard feeling, but it's what you've learned to do it differently next time.
Seek support.
Yeah,
Surround yourself
absolutely.
with supportive people, friends, family members, or people who just empower you. You feel good with them. They encourage you, and why not? They might guide you as well. Keep in mind that your environment is vital. And remember, the people you surround yourself with can and will influence your mindset. Choose wisely.
And if you say no, and then that leads to a conflict with people around you, then maybe question yourself.
Yeah.
How truthful is this relationship that
Mm,
you have with these people? Is it worth the conflict?
yeah.
If they don't appreciate you, maybe think again. think again that saying no doesn't mean again that you're not kind, you're not helpful. You just want to make a point
Yeah.
and respecting yourself, self-love and self-worth.
Yeah, and this leads to self-validation. So build your self-worth. Recognize your values, what you truly want and feel inside yourself, independent of others' opinions or approval. You don't need anyone's approval. If someone tells you that you're worthless, make the conscious choice not to believe in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And seek support, as Raluca said. We're
Yeah.
here if you want to explore further we're always happy to answer questions and just have a deeper chat if you wish. We hope we've covered a lot today for you about people pleasing and how to start with change, baby steps, the toddler steps that
Yeah,
Raluca
baby
mentioned.
steps. Yeah, and celebrate those steps, as small as they are.
Absolutely.
Instead of spending all your resources, time, and energy with pleasing others at your own expenses, start with your own needs, and you will see the others coming towards you. It's the other way around. You change the energy, shift the energy, make it work for you instead of against you.
As we said, self-love is contagious and a positive mindset is contagious. So this adds to how contagious you could be to the people and community around you. And maybe you could be the start of making that change happen
Mm.
within the people around you. Thank you for tuning in and see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us and for listening to our podcast. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.